Ghost Recon Breakpoint is a very shit game. It's a very shit game that fairly recently held a crossover event with the Terminator to promote Dark Fate, the latest movie that attempts to unfuck the sprawling shit web that is the Terminator plotline at this point. The movie came out in October 2019, making Ghost Recon's Dark Fate crossover just a little bit late when it rolled out in February 2020. I can't tell you whether or not the Terminator event, or to give it its official name, the Terminator event, was good or not. I can't tell you that because Ghost Recon Breakpoint is shit, and I stopped playing it a day after it came out like any ordinary person would. What I can tell you is that I'm officially sick to fucking death of seeing a Terminator's grinning metal mug in video games lately. Media crosses over all the time, especially when there's something to promote. Who can forget Kylo Ren's hilarious stint on alleged comedy show The Saturday Night Live? But really, it's abundant on American television especially. The Simpsons, Scandal, Law & Order, Bones, all of them have crossed over with other previously unrelated shows. The X-Files crossed over with Cops of all things, and there's a supernatural Scooby-Doo episode even. Video games are of course no exception, and the rise of the live service in the game industry has allowed more effective and ruthless means of marketing. A live service game is always online and constantly updated, making it easier than ever to plug in some character cameo, often with the lucrative likeness of the portraying Hollywood stars. Most live services feature regular in-game events, and theming the event in honour of an upcoming film is a by now common practice for a number of titles. Few games have been as receptive to this as Epic Games' Fortnite. The money-making behemoth has the pop culture exposure and massive mainstream player base to attract interest from marketing departments far and wide across the realm, and it hasn't been shy about welcoming some of the biggest franchises to its bright and colourful world. The sheer number of crossovers Fortnite's had is absolutely staggering. Stranger Things, The Avengers Infinity War, The Avengers Endgame, Batman, John Wick, Ralph Breaks the fucking internet. So popular and powerful is Fortnite that a crucial plot-relevant detail was left out of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker and put into the goddamn game. The entire fucking return of Emperor fucking Palpatine. The whole driving reason for the film's plot was not actually in the film whose plot it was driving. No wonder that film is such a goddamn shit show. God damn. The Emperor was a clone! The Emperor was a clone! That would have been good to know in the fucking film, Disney! Who made the ships? Who made the big ships? Who made the Star Destroyers? Thank you, Wikipedia! Thank you, Wikipedia! Finisher of films! Fuck! The idea of a movie, or even the fucking NFL? What? The NFL? Fuck! Coming to Fortnite in some way, shape or form has been pretty normalised now. It's expected for a blockbuster or even an EDM musician to add Fortnite to its list of late-night talk shows, actor cameos, Burger King Kids Club meals, and whatever else makes up the almighty marketing machine of a Hollywood production. Do they still do the Burger King Kids Club? Do you remember the Burger King Kids Club kids? Fucking smug little turds, I like to settle their hash. I had a Burger King Kids Club kid troll doll once. It was the nerd one from the group. IQ, that was its name. Fucker glowed in the dark. I'd like to find that doll again. Fucking settle its hash. Anyway, Fortnite is becoming such a near obligatory part of the promotional package that I'm honestly quite surprised Paramount Pictures and Epic Games didn't arrange for some Terminator Dark Fate event, especially as a T-800 running around the place would work out pretty perfectly for the companies concerned. However, while Dark Fate did not come to Fortnite, it sure as shit came to some other games. Yes, games, plural. Plural. Terminator Dark Fate has treated the video game industry like a promotional tour, and the beaming visage of the T-800 has popped up all over the shop. As well as Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Terminator Dark Fate has had a large looming presence in both Gears 5 and Mortal Kombat 11, ensuring that almost anyone who follows gaming news will have at least heard of it, and anyone actually playing will not escape it. Mortal Kombat 11 is the least surprising one. The fighting game franchise has hosted characters from across the horror and science fiction spectrum. Jason Voorhees, Aliens and Predators, Spawn, The Jokester, Freddy Krueger, Madeline. Mortal Kombat is like a social club for monsters. Adding a playable T-800 to Mortal Kombat 11 at least makes as much sense as anything else that's come to the series, though apparently not enough sense for Arnold Schwarzenegger to come in and put a voice to his own likeness. Still, the Terminator, with all his Dark Fate trappings, didn't look too out of place next to all the other guest stars. More glaring and certainly more shameless is Dark Fate's insidiously inherent connection to Gears 5. While it's an over-the-top game about guns with chainsaws and chunks of bloody meat flying all over the place, it does at least attempt to take itself with a degree of seriousness. Even the multiplayer, while not exactly plot relevant, has always attempted to immerse itself in the Gears universe and recreate the feeling of battle between the Cog and the Locust, or the Locust's shit counterpart in recent games. As of Gears 5, however, the characters of the Terminator are an irrevocable part of the battle, playable across all non-campaign modes of the game. At launch, there were two ways to access both Sarah Connor and the T-800 Terminator, either pre-ordering the game or playing it through Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass before the cut-off date of September 16th. At launch, Sarah Connors and T-800s were all over matches, making the Gears 5 multiplayer experience as much a Terminator game as a Gears game. This issue was helped along by the fact that the T-800 was both silent and darkly metallic in maps full of dark metal, making it a more popular choice for its sheer exploitation factor. Little metal skeletons running everywhere. The Dark Fate train didn't stop there though. Shortly after the cut-off period, Gears 5 offered not one but two Terminator Dark Fate character pack DLCs, one including the previously available Sarah Connor and T-800, the other featuring new characters Grace and Rev 9. Now, not only did these packs up the number of Terminator characters spilling into the Gears universe, they also cost an insultingly exorbitant amount of money, $19.99 each, $19.99 each. That's $40 total for 4 promotional characters. It's quite a lot of money to pay in order to do a movie's promotion for it. Usually the ones doing the advertising get financial compensation, but in the game industry, they're the ones paying for the privilege. And the people I'm talking about are you, the players. Make no mistake, when you go online as a T-800 or Sarah Connor, you're turning your very avatar into a digital billboard. You are, in-game, a walking advertisement for Terminator Dark Fate. And I'm not having a go at you. I'm as big a sucker as any other fucker, and like the consumer thrall I am, I ran around Gears 5 as a little metal skeleton at first because, you know, it's fucking there. It's pretty hard to resist running around as a little metal skeleton when you have the chance to run around as a little metal skeleton. But in doing so, I was contributing to a transmedia marketing campaign for free in a game that cost me actual money to access. It's a hell of a grift, really. Presumably, money had already changed hands between Microsoft and Paramount up front, because ain't nobody doing these kinds of crossovers for free. Typically, product placement is the result of one company paying another to place the product. And yet, despite the lucrativity of cross-media promotion, Microsoft was able to use a single movie tie-in to incentivize its pre-orders, further incentivize its Game Pass, and to make money off 2 overpriced DLC packs. A trifecta of bonuses from one promotion, all the while giving Paramount the mountains of exposure it wanted. If this whole scheme was the crime, it would be perfect. Similarly, Arnie in Mortal Kombat can be obtained either through the $39.99 Combat Pack or on his own for $5.99, not as insultingly priced as Gears 5's playable commercials, and as I said earlier, Mortal Kombat is so much more of a fitting setting, but nonetheless, you're paying $6 for a character model that exists solely to promote the movie, in all its Dark Fate finery. So every time you play as him, you're doing the movie studio's job for it, and not for free. You paid to do it. This is true of any video game promotion where you're paying to access the promotional material. It's an amazing scam that people are happy to go along with because the characters are cool. But the Terminator stuff has really struck me as particularly tacky just because of how much of it there is. A tie-in with a single video game? Sure. All my criticisms about paying to become advertisements still holds true, but at least it's one game. Instead, Dark Fate has insinuated itself across multiple franchises in the AAA video game space, and this is all while having its own shitty mobile game tie-in to boot. Gears 5, Mortal Kombat 11, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Like I said earlier, it's as if Terminator Dark Fate is using the game industry like a press junket, and the industry is perfectly happy to sell out. Or it would if it had any integrity left to sell out. I think it left some lying on the floor in the 1980s, but that soon got mopped up. Aside from the fact it's just plain tacky to see the T-800 everywhere like a theme park mascot, it absolutely diminishes the identity of all these games when they're all soaked in the exact same fucking branding. T-800s being fucking everywhere devalues both the character itself and the video game, spreading it around, as all narrative context and personal brand identity has been replaced by ubiquitous marketing-led guff, all in service to a movie that doesn't even matter. It's a sequel to a tired and long-maligned series, and the only reason it's not been completely forgotten about already is because I'm talking about it now. One movie promoted across 3 completely unrelated games is bloody out of hand. I mean, at least try to have some fucking dignity, game publishers. Just try. Once in your contemptible fucking existences, or at the very least hold out for a better movie than Terminator Dark Fate. It's pretty impressive just how desperate for attention Paramount is that it's willing to organise 3 separate video game crossover campaigns for one film, and it's pretty unsurprising just how desperate for cash video game publishers are that they'd happily turn their games into advertisement theme parks that charge for the advertisements. I mean, it's also worth pointing out that all 3 of these tie-in games feature obscene amounts of microtransactions and or DLC in their own right. Mortal Kombat is Warner Brothers, so of course there's a bunch of bullshit to buy. Gears 5 has an in-game economy that's confusing by design, contrived as it is to ensnare vulnerable players into spending on a whole suite of items alongside a Fortnite-style cosmetics shop. As for Ghost Recon Breakpoint, well, it's Ubisoft. You know that game's going to be as greedy as it is repetitive, which means it'll be really fucking greedy. So much money. So much fucking money. So many revenue sources, and it's still not enough. It's never enough. Pre-orders, deluxe editions, season passes, DLC, microtransactions, loot boxes, food and beverage promotions, merchandise, branded consumer products, movie crossovers. It's almost impossible to accurately and satisfactorily describe exactly how much money flows into the video game industry. No, it's not a flow, it's a torrent. Torrents and torrents of cash, and it will never be enough. The game industry isn't happy turning its very player base into a self-perpetuating living commercial. It feels the need to charge its player base for being a self-perpetuating living commercial, on top of everything else it charges for. And it can't be bargained with, it can't be reasoned with, it doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. Do you get what I'm doing? And it absolutely will not stop ever until you are... Do you get it? It's Terminator. Terminator Resistance was good though. That was a good game. On a Burger King kids meal.
Hasta la bomba, baby! It's me, the Terminator! Now, we all have a lot of fun in the Terminator series of films, but do you know what's not fun? Smoking. So if your dad gives you a cigarette, tell him, fuck off, Dad. I'm not smoking today. I'm not an idiot. I need to get this thing off my head. I genuinely need this thing.
Oh, okay.